Welcome to Let's Talk About Positive Sexual Experiences. Content warning. Every effort has been made to make this session accessible to all. It is, however, important to note that the subject matter surrounding consent and sexual boundaries will be discussed. If you do not feel comfortable attending this, please know that you can leave at any time. We will also have supports listed at the end of this presentation. Together, it's how it's done. So what is the TCD Consent Education Program? It is a primary prevention program for sexual and gender-based violence and all forms of discrimination and harassment. This program facilitates a whole community engagement towards a zero-tolerance approach to sexual and gender-based violence and all forms of discrimination and harassment. It establishes a multimodal engagement for students and staff. When we are more aware, we are more informed about how to approach this complex area. In TCD, we have a zero-tolerance approach, which means that we, as a community, do not condone any form of discrimination or violence. Therefore, we invite everyone to increase their awareness through this program, and the outcome, we hope, is an increased collective understanding about positive sexual experiences. So what is consent? Consent is fries. F, freely given. R, retractable. I, informed. E, enthusiastic. And S, specific. Some of you may have encountered this model before, but we will start with a quick overview. Freely given means that everyone involved is consenting without coercion or fear. Alcohol or drugs may compromise someone's ability to give consent freely. Freely given also means doing something sexual with someone is a decision that should be made without pressure, force, or manipulation. Retractable means that consent to a sexual act can be taken away before or during the activity. It also means that just because someone has consented before doesn't mean that there is always consent. Anyone can change their mind about what they want to do at any time, even if you've done it before or are in the middle of having sex. Informed means everyone knows the plan and what is being used, including contraceptives. Be honest. For example, if someone says they'll use a condom and then they don't, that's not consent. If someone has taken a lot of drugs or alcohol, we can't be sure we have informed consent. Enthusiastic is self-explanatory, we hope. If someone isn't excited or really into it, that's not consent. And specific means that just because you are consenting to one sexual act doesn't mean you're consenting to any sexual act. Saying yes to one thing, like going to the bedroom to make out, doesn't mean you've said yes to others, like oral sex. Consent is applied to specific acts on specific occasions. So, check in with each other. FRIES takeaway. FRIES is the acronym used to describe positive sexual experiences in TCD. Consent is agency, the ability to be informed and empowered when engaging in sexual experiences. Education and awareness activates agency for individuals and groups. That is the protective factor of consent education. The key element to remember, it is the impact of the unwanted behavior on the recipient, not the intention of the action. For example, if you think someone is behaving inappropriately, but they seem to think that's fine. However, regardless of that, it is important to remember that it is the impact on the person who may not think that is fine. This is what we focus on. Here is a simple example. Someone might slap someone else on the ass and think that is funny. However, the person receiving that slap on the ass may not feel it's funny and feel violated. So, it's not the intention of the act, but the impact of how the act is received. There are three main gray areas to FRIES. alcohol and drugs, peer pressure and coercion, and a lack of communication. In order to minimize these gray areas, identify consent, non-consent, and ask for consent clearly and verbally. Let's ask ourselves some FRIES questions. Is consent freely given? Are those involved able to choose what they want to do in that moment? Can consent be taken back? Yes, people can change their minds at any stage. That is fine. Is it informed consent? Is everyone okay with what is happening? Is there enthusiasm from all involved? Yes, this can be shown in many ways. And does everyone realize that consent can apply to one act and not another? It might apply to kissing and cuddling, but it might not apply to intercourse or oral sex. Don't assume. Check in with each other. Some more fries. We set a high bar for consent in TCD. We expect respect, and we treat others respectfully. If unsure about the gray areas, apply fries. If you're still unsure, apply a pause. And if you are in doubt, step back and remove yourself. A positive sexual experience essentially means that consensual sex respects everyone's right to say no to a sexual act whenever they want, or to have very little sex or no sex, whatever is their choice. When we replace cultural and societal fear, such as shame and judgment around consensual sex, with ideas of respect, autonomy, and pleasure, it can reduce cultural and societal misunderstandings. These misunderstandings, or gray areas, have meant that many young people, and women in particular, can feel under pressure to have sex to prove a variety of things, like being cool, not being prudish, and to belong. Alcohol and other substances. Alcohol and substance consumption can create miscommunication around consent. It's important to take a pause and/or remove yourself from the situation if you are unsure. We are a diverse community of different cultures, ethnicities, experiences, and expectations. If someone thinks or feels that they're in any type of encounter, sexual or otherwise, that is uncomfortable, and they or their partners may be too inebriated to consent, step back and check in to see what everyone wishes to do next. To get us thinking about consent as an everyday thing that people negotiate in lots of different ways, because consent's about agreement, isn't it? So, in our daily lives, when do we give agreement or choose not to give our agreement? Let's look at some consent scenarios. Two friends are having lunch in a cafe, and one wants to eat some chips off the other's plate. Is it okay to just take a chip? Is there anything that depends on? How might you check if it's okay to take a chip? Are there any indirect ways of checking? How might you let your friend know you don't want them eating your chips, directly or indirectly? Your roommate admires your jacket and wants to borrow it one night you're not wearing it. Do they need to seek consent to do this? What if you've let them borrow it before? Do they still need to ask? Does it make a difference if this is a very close friend versus someone you don't know so well? Are the rules the same? Both of these consent scenarios touch on ideas about assumptions, gray areas, and consent being shown in lots more ways than using the words yes or no. Consent is expressed verbally and non-verbally, directly and indirectly. It is important to remember that the absence of a no does not mean a yes. If you're unsure about anything, check in with everybody. This creates the space for informed consent and a positive sexual experience, should you choose to have one. We have a high standard of expected behavior for consent in our TCD community. We know that this is important as it means that we have faith that our community will act in a way that is respectful to others. If anyone is a victim of sexual violence, misconduct, assault, or harassment, there are resources available. What is important is that people reach out for support if and when they are ready. For students and staff, we have a range of supports across college should you need to reach out. For example, the Student Counseling Service, College Health, the Junior Dean's Office, the Senior Tutor's Office, the Disability Service, the TCD SU Welfare Officer and the SU Team, the Student Learning and Development Team, or the Occupational Health Team. For students in halls, the JCR Welfare Officer is available to reach out to, and of course, the JCR team alongside the Assistant Warden teams. The Assistant Junior Dean team are available to guide students to the next support steps on campus, and staff can access the Employee Assistance Program, and staff representatives can also give support. For both staff and students, there is a list of dignity and respect liaison persons who can be contacted via the TCD site www.tcd.ie/equality/. And finally, anyone can make an anonymous report about anything that feels uncomfortable on the TCD Speak Out Anonymous Reporting tool. This was rolled out across most colleges in 2021 to assist students, staff, or visitors to make an anonymous report should they wish to. The link to the tool is featured in this slide at www.tcd.ie/equality/speakout. Thank you for listening. Should you have any questions, you can contact the TCD Together Consent Team at togethertcd@gmail.com.